Welcome back to the Security Brief. How can we keep Dylan and Sandy's story from happening to anyone else? That's the goal of this show. Joining us now to talk about this situation is psychotherapist Dr. Robi Ludwig. Dr. Robi, welcome to the Security Brief.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Such an important story, too.
Dr. Robi, I got to ask you a question. Teenagers, decision-making, what influences that?
Not so good. Well, their brains are not fully developed. So the frontal cortex, that's the part of the brain that weighs consequences, is not developed. So they're really not as capable of weighing the consequences for their decisions.
Interesting.
They're more impulsive. They're more influenced by peers. And if you look at the adult brain versus the teen brain, the adult is thinking, how will my behavior influence others? And teens are not quite there yet. So that's why we see the problems that we do with them.
Interesting, which kind of begs the question to parents. Right, so what's your advice to parents? And I'm going to preempt this because I'm looking at a parent here who's amazing.
Amazing.
Right? And my question to Sandy and to you is, how does one, in the face of everything, have the resolve and the inner peace that she does? How does it?
I guess Sandy would be in the best place to answer that question.
What do you think,
How do you do it? Because you truly are amazing.
Thank you. We felt, David has two older brothers, and my daughter-in-laws, and we all felt this came through David. We just all felt so strongly that at the end of the day, you can't go to sleep with hate in your heart like that. You'll get deathly ill. You know, the forgiveness part made us heal. Like, it's obvious.
That's beautiful, don't you think?
So I think in part it's an inner resiliency, maybe even a spiritualism, and really understanding a truth that if you stay stuck in resentment, it robs you of joy and pleasure in your life. And it keeps you stuck as seeing yourself as a victim. And if you want to move past that, it's not about justice. It's not saying what the other person is doing is okay or was okay, but it's saying I want to put this in perspective and not stay stuck in hate.
You know what I find interesting, and it's going to piggyback off of that to this point. I have a question that I ask people quite a bit. I'd love your take on this real quickly. I ask the question, and forgive my back here, everybody. What is a more powerful emotion, love or hate? You know?
That's a good one.
And I'm going to piggyback off of something that Sandy said, and the answer to that question that I feel is the one you choose.
Right.
Because oftentimes that anger leads to hate, and the hate, as Sandy said before, eats up, right? So just an interesting thing. Sandy, one thing, I don't know if you know this or not, we talked early before about Dylan and being in court the first time. I don't know if you know this or not. Dylan was told not to look at anyone. So it wasn't that he did it intentionally. Dylan, do you have something to say about that real quick?
Yeah, I was told not to look at you or the family.
Why though?
I wasn't able to have contact with you while the court process was going on, and that included looking at you guys.
So, and not to put words in your mouth, but who told you that?
My lawyer.
Your lawyer told you that. So, Sandy, for the record, it wasn't that he was smug. It was something that was told. Just to clear the air there. Sure. Okay. I want to come back to Dr. Robi. Dr. Robi, what would you be telling parents right now?
Well, I think it's really important to have the conversation with your teens, to understand that they developmentally, you know, they feel immortal and they feel like they can do whatever they want and still be okay. So to have the harsh conversation, say what your expectations are, you know, of your teens. Give them choices. So if they're out, say this, if somebody's drinking, get somebody to call me, give them strategies, and also make them part of the problem-solving strategy. Because if they are following their own problem-solving strategy, they'll take it more seriously and they won't rebel. Because teens rebel, it's developmentally appropriate. They don't want to be lectured. They need consequences because that's how they really learn about the real world. So if they do something wrong, give them a consequence, set limits so they learn, oh, this is what happens if I don't behave right.
But I love the part about being part of the problem-solving process, because basically what you're saying is instead of dictating it, you make them part of the strategy itself, the formulation of it.
And the other thing, too, is you can lend your brain power to your teens. So you can say, should I be worried about you? that you're going out and you're going to be driving and you're going to a party, because teens don't want their parents to worry about them. So they will take that into consideration.
Interesting. That's fascinating. Dr. Robi, you are always wonderful to have here, and a wealth of knowledge. I mean it.